I do not think that you can discount fully for a second the persuasion of the consumer production mindset, the psyche that comes with being a producer and a consumer in a capitalistic society. They are in constant dialectical relationship, and when arms manufacturers produce guns, and they do so without fully understanding that there is a market demand, a real demand for their guns, they do have tactics, whether that be marketing or other ways of persuasion, to get people to buy their weapons. And so whether that's distilling doomerism, or talking about the end of the world coming, or talking about some social upheaval, talking about the end of the American empire, talking about divisive identity politics, which makes people want to go into camps where they buy guns so they can shoot each other just in case there is some type of civil war that's coming. I think the arms manufacturing industry is incredibly sophisticated when it comes to its propaganda and splitting people into camps that want to buy weapons and kill each other. I think they are incredibly sophisticated in their powers of persuasion to get people to consume the stuff that they are producing en masse. That's the one thing about a capitalistic society. It is production for the sake of production purposes. They want to build weapons, they want to produce weapons because they want to sell it to you. And if you buy it because you think that you're going to start the next revolution, or if you think you're going to fight against an evil government, or there's a zombie apocalypse coming, fucking who cares? It's all the same to them as long as you buy their shit. Now, I would, and this is unequivocal, I would completely support an armed citizenry if they had locally produced arms, if they were producing their own weapons and had full control over that industry, i.e., they owned the means of production. They owned the means of production. It was socialized and they had it. They were controlling it, not being controlled by it through some weird psyop or perception relation of being in a market-driven society. Then, you wouldn't even have to ask me the question. I'd be like, fucking arm yourselves. Go for it. Go for it. You have full control over this weaponry. No one can hold it against you. No one can manipulate you, and no one can control your mind. And you are fully in control of this weaponry. But until that really happens, all I can say really is I am very skeptical of people arming themselves as a result of some capitalist over there being like, hey, check out this new weapon. It'll save you when it matters. Kind of thing. I'm just concerned when people don't have full control over this. Because the real argument about arming yourself is about that. It's about you having the power to control your own sovereignty. And so if weapons grant you that autonomy, then I'm all for it. I just don't believe in the market system. I think people get manipulated into wanting consumer goods, even if they don't really need them. But they are told that they need them. It's your freedom, it's your right. Hey, protect your kids. Are you worried about, your kids getting shot up at school? Well, then buy a gun. And if you are lucky enough to be there, then you can shoot that person and then you can save some lives. And I don't like to turn to the market for an answer. So if someone has a way of arming the masses, which is off the market, go and look at the history of Che Guevara in Cuba. What they were doing in the mountains, making their own weapons. Don't get me wrong, they had support. They had people that were supplying them, and they took stuff with them from Mexico. But like, you know what they did when they got there, and they lost most of their shit because it was a failed attempt when they started their insurrection. It was a failed attempt. They landed in the wrong place. They got thrown off the ship. They were separated, and they had to start fighting in the jungles in Cuba, and like battle by battle, every time they clawed the smallest victory off the Batista regime, like the smallest victory, they fucking took their weapons. They stole their weapons. They built their own ammo supplies. They made their own stuff. I'm pretty sure they made their own grenade launchers. Now, I know that's not easy. I know that's an incredibly big ask. That's a massive ask. But they completely controlled that situation. They weren't relying on anyone else. They weren't calling up a government on the other side of the world and being like, can you arm us? Can you help us do this? And I know things have changed a lot since the 1960s. Things have changed so much since the 1960s. Obviously, things are way more sophisticated and complex now in terms of the weaponry. But like, case in point, look at Freeman. This is one dude in the bush, and they can't catch him. Why can't they catch him? With all the sophisticated technology they have special operations team, they have the best gear that is available in the 21st century. They haven't been able to catch this guy yet. I would not underestimate the keen ability of a bunch of revolutionary forces, guerrilla fighters, or people that do fight in the bush, in thick jungle, and have control over their own resourcing. They seem to be able to do things quite well and like to withstand things quite well. Don't get me wrong, the machine of suppression will usually come and get them, but there is a lot to say for being autonomous and being able to produce your own stuff. Well, a lot of revolutions use mass-produced stuff, like for example from the Soviet Union, but that's a whole other conversation. Yeah, that's a good point as well. And like, they were a real revolutionary organization and outfit, especially while Lenin was still alive. They were arming revolutionaries all around the place. They were actually waiting for the Germans to pick up, and the Germans dropped the ball on that one. But yes, they did. And so were the Chinese. Like, Mao sent money and support out to revolutionaries all around the third world, people that were non-aligned with the two great powers at war with each other. And so, like, yeah, if it's coming from a place that is manufacturing not for market's sake but for arming revolutionaries, then that's just as good. I don't think the US would have as much gun violence if we didn't live in a capitalistic cesspool that breeds the hate that leads to people wanting to commit gun violence and mass murders. I think that's a massive issue. Honestly, I really think that a lot of the fucking political problems and the disharmony is produced by these arms manufacturers. That's why there's this imminent feeling of the apocalypse, while there's zombie apocalypse stuff and people doomsday preppers and all of this stuff, because it feeds an entire industry. You got people that make bunkers and make special weapons and like supplies and all this sort of stuff. It's an industry at the end of the day. Things come from the market first. They don't come exactly because there isn't a dire need for this stuff. And I do think, I agree, I think the capitalistic nature breeds the hate between groups that drives up arms sales. And, you know, it's profitable. That school shooting yesterday that we were discussing, man, very profitable. Look at that company. What a sinister organization that was. What, Campus Guardian Angel. Just the name is sickening. And like, their business model is to promote, by extension, their business model is to promote school shootings. They lose out if school shootings stop. So if you look at who they lobby, they wouldn't be lobbying people that want to get rid of guns, because there goes their entire business model.
Remember, I am, you are, we are a mystery.